Magandang araw ho, magandang gabi sa bawat isa, Local Village. Tayo po ay nagsisimula po sa ating day 1 ng ating Soulergy. Ano ho yung Soulergy? Hindi po ito ethos o music service. Hindi po ito Sunday service or anchored. Siguro ho, para po sa atin po na nagtatanong ho, ano ba yung Soulergy? This will be for 20 days. From Monday hanggang Friday po yon. For 30 minutes daily ho. Importante lang siguro ho na tayo po bilang isang local village, pinnacle village po, nasaan man ho tayo, ay pumasok po sa isang panahon ng panalangin for 30 minutes every day. Sana hindi lang po isang araw, kundi buong linggo. For 20 days po. Because we need to be able to soak the village, the church, our people. Tayo ho yun. Most especially dahil po darating pong Easter po sa April 17. Ito ho yung panahon na pinaniniwalaan po na ang dami hong tao na naghahanap po sa Diyos. At inihingi natin sa Panginoong Diyos na gamitin pong ating church for our hearts to be missional. May summit ho tayo sa April 27 hanggang 30th. Ano ho ito? Last year po, grabe, ang ganda ho ng mga kwento na kung saan po hindi namin inaakala something we never imagined. It's possible to do it online, locally, and God moved last year. At muli ho, ito ho yung ating pong pangalawang taon po ng ating summit, April 27-30, Heart of the Way. And we're asking God once again to move in our midst, to break hearts, to speak to our people ho. But syempre ho, taon-taon, meron tayong anniversary, Pinnacle Village, dito po sa Amerika, itong darating pong Mayo. And we're asking every one of us, this is not just America, this includes Philippines, Australia, Middle East, Europe ho, at ang mga iba sa labas pa ho ng Amerika, lalo na rin ho ang Canada. At tayo po ay magkakaroon ng panahon po ng panalangin. At kami ho'y nagpapasalamat po sa inyo sa inyong pagsama ho sa amin simula ho sa unang gabi po. Ito pong araw hong ito. Mas siguro silipin lang ho natin, siguro magandang simulan po sa Salmo ho. At ang napili hong Salmo ho, siguro gusto ko pong simulan ay Salmo 86, Psalms 86. At ang sabi dun ho, this is a prayer of David. Basahin natin kasi 17 verses po ito. Pero ang sabi ho ng verses 1 to 4, a prayer of David, hear me, O Lord, and answer me. Pakinggan niyo, sabi, for I am rich and not needy. Hindi, ang sabi ho ng mamang to, si David po, sabi, hear me, O Lord, and answer me. Pakinggan mo ako, pero sagutin mo din ako. Bakit? For I am poor and needy. Sa isang hari po, nakatulad ni David, kung ito po yung panalangin ho nung panahong yon, hindi ho maganda na aminin po na isang mamang to, nakatulad ni David po, that he was poor and needy. And yet, he would acknowledge and he was honest before God. That the reason he was crying out to God is because he was in need. Verse 2, tingnan ho natin, sabi po ni David, Lord, guard my life, for I am faithful to you. Save your servant who trusts in you. You are my God. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I call to you all day long. Grabe, buong araw ho siyang tumatawag. He was actually desperate. He was in a crisis. He was in trouble. Look at verse 4. Sabi ho ni David, bring joy to your servant, Lord, for I put my trust in you. Sabi ho ng isang komentaryo, nung sinabi ho sa verse 4, bring joy to your servant, Lord, sinasabi ho doon na mukhang may dinadaanan, parang may pagka-depress ho itong mamang to si David. Bakit po? Yung crisis ho niya is because he was in danger from people who wanted to kill him. Ang linaw ho sa verse 14, arrogant foes are attacking me, O God. Ruthless people are trying to kill me. They have no regard for you. Yan ho ang dahilan, kaya ho lumalapit itong mamang to, si David po, sa panalangin. At may iba-ibang dahilan po siguro ng ating paglapit po tuwing tayo po'y bubuno sa panalangin. But isa ho doon, lumalapit tayo kasi, Lord, because I need you. I need you to move. I need your presence. I need an answer to my prayer. Again in verse 1, David began his prayer by saying, hear me, O Lord, and answer me. For I am poor and needy. Hindi ito yung, alam mo, yung paulit-ulit ng panalangin po na hindi ho totoo sa kanyang puso. Ito ho yung bagay po na kanyang sinasambit, sinasabi ho paulit-ulit sa Panginoong Diyos. Kasi ho, he was actually desperate. It was an admission of helplessness. It was an acknowledgement that he was weak and he needed God and His power. Importante po sa ating pong unang araw po ng pananalangin po, itong panahon po ng Soulergy, is to recognize our need of Him. Yung pangailangan po natin sa Panginoong Diyos. Nang panalangin po kay David, hindi po yan isa sa napakaraming options. O ang panalangin po, pag wala nang mangyayari sa lahat ng aking ginawa, okay, meron akong plan A, plan B, plan C. Marami akong options. If everything else fails, then I will pray. No, for David, prayer was a priority. Prayer was part of his life. And I hope today or tonight, prayer is something that is relevant, importante, mahalaga. At kaya ho tayo lumalapit po. Kaya naman pong ating mga pastor po, sabi nga ho, importante talaga for 20 days. Bago ho tayo magkaroon ng summit at magkaroon po ng Easter celebration anniversary, ang importante po, meron ng movement po from within, hindi movement from without. Yun ho laging sinasabi ho ng ating pastor, si Pastor Gina Atencio. Sana hindi lang ho maraming movements from without, but maraming po na movements from within. John Piper, isa hong pastor sa Amerika, ang sabi niya, prayer is the open admission that without Christ, we can do nothing. Ganda, no? Ang panalangin daw po ay isang admission po. Okay? Na without Christ, wala tayong magagawa. Yun naman ho, kaya naman tayo lumalapit sa Panginoong Diyos. He said, prayer is the turning away from ourselves to God in the confidence that He will provide the help that we need. Prayer, listen to this, humbles us as needy and exalts God as wealthy. Isa pong inspiration speaker po, ang pangalan po Ian LaVansant. Sabi ho niya, at pakinggan ho natin, pwede ho nating basahin po. In my deepest, darkest moments, what really got me through was a prayer. Sana po hindi po ito sa napakaraming options. And maybe tonight or today, andun ho tayo. Siguro ho, sabi ko nga doon sa iba hong mga huddles, ang panalangin ay natututunan. Hindi nagbasa lang tayo ng isang aklat about prayer. Ang isang napakahalaga po sigurong importante po na matandaan ho natin, we learn prayer by joining a group of people who pray. Sabi niya, sometimes my prayer was help me. Sometimes a prayer was thank you. What I've discovered is that intimate connection and communication with my Creator, Jesus, will always get me through because I know my support, my help is just a prayer away. But ang maganda rin pong makita po sa Psalm 86 is how David responded when he was faced with crisis. Iba-iba ho tayo, no? Pag may crisis po, how would he respond? We respond by worrying when faced with overwhelming circumstances. Ang iba ho sa atin, ang dali ho magpanik po. Ang dali ho natin magreklamo ho, but David came to God in prayer. His weapon when faced with enemies who wanted to kill him was prayer. He relied on God, not on himself, the ruler, a leader, or on any other people for help. He cried out to God first. It's the first thing that he did. Kitang-kita dito ho that he was having a sense of intimacy and closeness with God. Sana po people come and we come to God. Not only as an option or the last resort when everything else fails. Si John Bunyan po, ang sabi ho niya, you can do more than pray after you have prayed. But you cannot do more than pray until you have prayed. Prayer should be our first resort. Hindi ho panghuli. And the question today or tonight is this. When faced with crisis, how do you respond? Do you respond in prayer? Do you believe that prayer is when God hears you and answer your prayer? Sa mundo ho na ating ginagalaw, mas madaling mag-Google search. Lahat ng tanong for wisdom, for knowledge. Or because we have human pride, that prayer becomes irrelevant. That God becomes irrelevant. Naalala ko, isa sa mga paborito kong writer po, si A.W. Tozer, ang paalala ho niya at sinasabi ho niya, to many Christians, Christ is little more than an idea, or at best an ideal. He is not a fact. Millions of professed believers talk as if he were real and act as if he were not. Sana ho ngayong gabi at ngayong araw ito sa pagsimula natin, let us just talk about believing in prayer. Wag lang ho nating pag-usapan po that I believe in prayer, that God moves. But let us practice prayer. Today and tonight, simulan ho natin. Okay? Magkaroon ho tayo ng journey ng ating mga puso. That prayer becomes a priority. I know marami ho tayong ginagawa. But this 30 minutes every night for 20 days, from Monday till Friday, sana wag ho isang araw lang. Buuin ho natin panahon ng ating puso lumalaki sa pasanin ng Panginoong Diyos. Nagkakaroon ho tayo ng intimacy with God. Maybe your reason for coming here is because you have a need, whether big or small. And this drives us to prayer instead of driving us away from God. I pray that our times with God, when we intercede, this 20 days of prayer becomes an intimate experience with God. I pray that these 20 days of Soulergy becomes a preparation of our hearts to see and to witness God's display of His presence, love, grace, and power. We're inviting you for an experience of His presence for 30 minutes from Monday till Friday for 20 days. Yun ho ang importante po sa ating unang gabi ho at araw ho ng paglapit sa Panginoong Diyos.